As a collector who's been collecting fragrances in the fragrance game for quite a bit now, I can honestly say with certainty I've come across a lot of amazing bargain Middle Eastern fragrances. A lot of them are pretty good, but some of them are especially great. They're great bargains. You're gonna smell amazing. They're gonna last a long time. And today we are going to be going over 20 recommendations. These are some of the more underground ones. People don't really talk about them as much. Sure, there could be a couple reviews on them out there, but for me, these I would consider more under the radar fragrances. They're lesser known and they smell absolutely amazing. So chances are if you buy any of these fragrances, you're going to be blown away and you're going to be smelling unique, and not a lot of people are going to smell just like you. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing, stick around, make yourself comfortable, and let's jump right in. How's it going, everyone? It is Eli with Common Sense, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. And I'm excited to jump into some of these fragrances. So let's start off with the first one. This first one is from the house of Nabeel, and Nabeel makes some fan-freaking-tastic fragrances. And this one is no exception. This one is called Black Sand. Now, when I smell this one, I immediately get like a really nice incensey, floral, rosy oud with a nice bit of an amber warmth. And there's something so comforting about that really nice, fluffy floral vibe. And it's almost a little bit salted and kind of gourmand, and something about it reminds me of Fragrance du Bois Cavort. I actually just got this fragrance in because I love this DNA and realized it smells kind of similar to this one. They're not exactly the same, but they definitely do smell similar, and they're in that same olfactive family. Check out Nabeel's Black Sand. And then next up, also from the house of Nabeel, is one of my favorite Middle Eastern fragrances of all time. In fact, we could have talked about it first, but there really is no order to this one. But this one is Nabeel's Irth. Now, this is one of the most complicated fragrances I've ever smelled. There's a really nice animalistic oud in there. It kind of reminds me of that real strong animalistic leather from something like Louis Vuitton's Ombre Nomad, or maybe even Nisha Neemana, but this one, it's a little bit more fruity. It's got some complex depth to this, and if you really want to smell like a Middle Eastern prince or princess that just has their life together, you got some money to flaunt around, and honestly, you want to just fake it until you make it. This is the perfect fragrance for that because it's sweet, it is rich and opulent smelling, all without breaking the bank at around that $45 to $50. And the longevity is insane, around 11 to 12 hours on this one. It's one of the best smelling Middle Eastern fragrances that you can buy. Now, these next two you can actually pick up at Triple Traders, and if you use my code COMMONSENSE, you can save 10% on your entire order. And I've heard that they also have really fast next day shipping if you do opt for that, and so that's a really cool option if you want it. This next one is Amiri Oud from Hekayat Attar. Now, this one has some depth to it. This is going to be an amber heavy fragrance. It's got a really smooth, silky agarwood in there, and it's a little bit kind of buttery almost, and so it just smells gourmand. It's got a really nice chocolatey agarwood going on in there, and it just smells absolutely heavenly. And it's also got a really nice pressurized atomizer, and I absolutely love how this one smells once it dries down on your skin, and it will make you last all day, especially on your clothes. And so this one just smells expensive, and I forget what exactly it's a twist on, but it smells really good for $40, and it's also an extrait de parfum. So if you like those really nice, sweet, gourmand, waxy agarwood fragrances that smell definitely complicated, then this is going to be a good pick. And that one's Amiri Oud. The second one from that house that we're covering is also called Wild Amber. This one is also going to be doing that herba pura thing similar to the Gold Oud, but I think this definitely makes it smell more fruity. It's definitely more youthful, and honestly, if you're in your 20s, you know, you're going to college, I could honestly see a lot of women wearing this one and rocking it. And again, you're getting that really long longevity and really good performance, especially if you spray it in your hair, on your arms, or your clothes, and you give somebody a hug, they're gonna be like, "Oh, come back in here. I need to smell that again." Yeah, this This one especially leaves that really intoxicating scent trail, and I've definitely had people stop and ask me what I'm wearing with this fragrance and the last one. I'm just saying. Now these next few ones you can actually pick up and you can find them in your rack stores. So if you go to your Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Ross, chances are you'll find these just sitting in the shelf. And I'd recommend checking the women's fragrance section because a lot of the time these Middle Eastern ones get put over there for some reason. Don't know why they do that. This one is Milestone's Forever Paradise, and I believe this is cloning a Carolina Herrera fragrance. I want to say it's one of the vetiver ones, like Vetiver Paradise maybe. This one is very floral heavy, and I absolutely love how soapy, salty, and musky this one smells, and that's kind of something that I really like in a fragrance. I like soapy, clean, just floral smelling fragrances, and so the vetiver and the jasmine are very strong in here. It definitely smells floral, kind of waxy, but the longevity on this one actually got really good. I want to say I got about 10 to 11 hours of this one, and when you spray it, it just has a nice uplifting, just airy quality about it. And so if you're a woman, I could definitely see you pulling this off, and honestly it's unisex, so I would wear it on a daily basis. But this one smells fantastic for the price, and that one is Milestone's Forever Paradise. If you're at the rack stores, also be on the lookout for this one. Be on the lookout for Kamara Perfume's Contra Men Only Intense. I always laugh at this name for some reason. It's almost like it's a boys club, like no girls are allowed, it's men only. But this one has such a beautiful complexity to it. It reminds me a lot of those nice lipsticky, chocolatey iris fragrances. And so this is going to be a Givenchy twist. It's the Gentleman, I think, the black bottle, the Eau de Parfum. And it also kind of reminds me of some of the Dior Homme fragrances, and also a bit of Armani Privé Queer Zarzura. So it's that really nice chocolatey, earthy leather combined with that really nice lipsticky iris and a touch of that kind of cocoa gourmand vibe. But this one, it smells so much more expensive than it is, and if you buy this one, you are definitely going to be feeling good about yourself. And that one's Contra Men Only Intense. Men! Now this next one, I was also quite shocked because this I found actually for $10 at the rack store. It is insane. It was $9.99, and I have been seeing these pop up at almost every single Burlington for that $10 price. Now, the presentation is nothing remarkable. It's got one of the cheapest caps. It honestly looks like an attachment that you put on your car vacuum cleaner, you know, at the car cleaners. It's just kind of cheap. But if you buy this and you're looking for an oud-based fragrance, it's not going to smell like that. This is going to be a twist on Xerjoff's Herba Pura, which is that really nice drier sheet combined with a fruity vibe. It smells very tropical and expensive smelling, but I feel like this one adds a little bit more of a vanillic vibe. It's a little bit darker and it has some amber complexity to it. And really, it just smells absolutely heavenly for that price. And for $10, you really cannot complain. And I got a good 6 to 7 hours, probably a little bit longer. I forgot what I said in my original review. I never would have guessed that this one was $10. Who would have guessed? Next up is a fragrance that is not necessarily the most long-lasting. It definitely smells good, and I'm honestly okay with that sometimes. This is going to be Flavia's L'Impression Parfum. This one has such a complexity to it. It is like a very masculine aquatic floral fragrance. It's earthy, it's got some green undertones to it. This one is going to be inspired by Louis Vuitton's L'Immensité. Now this one has a nice juicy grapefruit. It's got some ginger, some citrus notes, and it also has some rosemary and sage in there, so it's going to smell a little bit aromatherapeutic. It's going to be easy on the nose. It's going to smell aquatic while at the same time smell very office friendly, and I love wearing this one on Mondays because it gives me some of that energy from those citruses and the ginger, and honestly it smells really good for the 25 to 30 bucks you can get. I get about 6+ hours of longevity on this one, but I don't mind respraying because it's a big bottle and it's cheap. And that one is Flavia L'Impression Parfum. Now this next one, we're kind of stepping up a little bit in the quality, and this one is from Maison Alhambra. This one is Amberley Ombre Blue. Now I believe this one is going to be a twist on Guerlain's, I think it's Patchouli Ardent. I forget the name, it's been a while since I've checked it. I could have totally butchered it, but this one is definitely a patchouli based fragrance for sure, and it also has quite a bit of geranium, so it does smell like a floral patchouli old school powerhouse bomb. And I remember when I did wear this last winter and last fall, it projected like crazy. It's a super long-lasting fragrance, and I absolutely adored the presentation. It's really nice. It feels like you're unboxing a beautiful niche fragrance. It really does feel like you spent a ton of money without spending a ton of money. $50 I feel like is a little bit on the higher end for some of the fragrances, but you're stepping up in quality and you're going to be getting a really good classic masculine, just old school smelling fragrance. So if you're in your 40s, you know, your 50s, I could definitely see you rocking this one. Next up is a fragrance from Fragrance World, and this one is from their coffee collection. This one is Kopi Luwak. So this one is going to not have any of that civet or that kind of fecal, you know, Kopi Luwak notes that you would kind of expect with a name like this. And if you're interested in checking it out, I'd Google it. It's kind of gross, but kind of intriguing at the same time. But this is going to be a very earthy coffee. There's going to be a nice dense roasted espresso note. I also love that there's a nice candied cherry vibe in here. It's a little bit nutty, kind of earthy, and it just reminds me of a nice just cup of coffee. It's a little bit sweet, like a caramel sweetness, and honestly, I just imagine yourself sitting on the patio, you're having some really nice coffee, you have a bowl of nuts next to you, and that really nice candied cherry in there to top it all off. And that one smells really, really good for the money. That one is Kopi Luwak by Fragrance World. This next one is called Musk is Great by Zimaya, and if you're looking at this bottle, you might be thinking to yourself, this is definitely trying to clone that Initio Musk Therapy fragrance. I was very disappointed when I unboxed this one because I was expecting that, but over time, I actually did come to appreciate this one. It is a very soapy, musky floral fragrance. It smells very musky, and it's almost like a chalky, powdery tone. So it's almost like some orris or something in there that just gives it a nice candied, just real powdery vibe, almost like a sweet tart. This one does have magnolia, and it also has some black currant in there, again, with some of those really interesting musks. And so I think the sandalwood also does give it a nice warmth, and it definitely rounds it out a little bit. It's not gonna be the most smooth smelling fragrance, but I think it does smell like a clean bar of Dove soap combined with a little bit of just a nice citrusy vibe. And so this one is actually nice if you judge it by itself and don't really compare it to the fragrance that you're thinking it's cloning. So that one's pretty nice. And that one is Musk is Great by Zimaya. Now, if you're a fan of Tom Ford Bitter Peach, this is going to be a nice alternative. It's not going to be a one-to-one. I believe this is actually a twist on the Roja Enigma fragrance. I'm pretty sure it's the feminine one, but this one is a beautiful peach. It also kind of reminds me of fall, and there's some really interesting floral. And there's also some really interesting spices that kind of just remind me of like a peach cobbler. So it's got a touch of sweetness. It's got a nice bit of amber and some of those nice warm notes that kind of remind me of fall. But yeah, this one was interesting because I was expecting something a little bit more bright, but this is more of a soft warmth that kind of radiates from it. And when you wear it, you definitely do smell and feel like you're wearing something expensive. And so this one was actually quite nice at around that $19.99 mark, especially on Amazon. So this is going to be a really nice slept on under the radar fragrance, and that one is Lattafa Sutoor. Now this one's been out for quite a bit, but it's new to me, and I actually saw it at a rack store and managed to pick it up for about 16 bucks. And this one is Lattafa Ramz Gold. This is the red bottled version, and it definitely has a really, really unique quality to this one. And when I first smelled it, I thought it was a little bit feminine leading, but the more that I wear it and the more that I spray it on myself, it's totally unisex. And that's really the case for a lot of basically all fragrances. It's kind of just marketing, but this one has a really nice peach. It's got some apple, some pear in there, and it just smells like a nice bowl of fresh fruit. And you also have some rose in here, some jasmine, and some really nice musks. So it definitely does smell light. It smells airy, but with that really nice complex fruity notes in here, those fruity accords. And it really does just smell heavenly, and it almost smells like it's slightly metallic. It's just a very airy and bright vibe. It just almost like it cuts through whatever you're smelling, and you just definitely notice it. And so that's kind of a good thing, at least in my opinion. And this one was also said to be a twist on Xerjoff's Alexandria too. So if you're looking for that for about that $15 to $20 mark, I think you found your answer. And that one is Lattafa Ramz Gold. So staying on this topic of Middle Eastern floral fragrances, this one is absolutely beautiful, and it is a steal for about $20 to $30. This one is Ajmal Wisal. Now this one has a really interesting rose. It's got some yellow florals in there. It's kind of oriental, and it also has a nice spice in the base, and it's got a super strong musk in here. So if you want something that is very musk forward, I think this is a good option, but it also smells very Middle Eastern from those florals. And I want to say there's also some incense in here, and you know, because of that sandalwood and those florals and spices, I think a guy could definitely wear this one. And I've worn it many times, especially in the spring, because there's just something really intoxicating something about that floral, just musky vibe combined with some of that depth from that sweetness. And that one is Ajmal Wisal. Similar to the Amiri Oud, this one is also a really nice silky smooth oud, and this one is from Acqua de Parisis, and this one is called Silk Oud. Now this one I believe is a sub-brand of Rayon Tradition, so this one I never really heard of before. I never heard of this brand. It's got a very wet and smooth vibe from the agarwood. This one kind of reminds me of a couple oud fragrances for Maison Francis Kurkdjian, maybe Satin Mood or one of the other just plain oud fragrances, but it really does smell very smooth and silky, and I think there's something very creamy and just really earthy and slightly aquatic from the oud and some of the ambers that they use in here. So this one, the quality definitely blew me away, and I was quite surprised when I smelled this one. For about 27 bucks, you're getting a steal. That one is Silk Oud by Acqua de Parisis. Now this fragrance is a true hidden gem. Basically nobody talked about it. I think I was the first review to talk about this one, and man, I feel like I put you guys onto some gold. This one is from the house of Ayat, and this one is Jealousy. So this is a beautiful kind of blue aqua bottle that has these really nice ridges on the edge, and man, this bottle just looks so cool on your shelf, and it smells so irresistible. This one has a beautiful rose. It's got some really interesting florals. It's also got some aquatic syrupy sweetness and also some black currant in there, and so it's definitely going to be a very aquatic fragrance, and it's also going to be similar to Louis Vuitton's Matière Noir. I think that's how you say it. But really, if you like syrupy aquatic fragrances with a nice dose of that rose and also some kind of magnolia as well, this is going to be a really interesting one. And it's also got some patchouli and some agarwood in there, so it's definitely got a little bit of depth to it, especially once it dries down. But this is definitely a masterpiece, especially because it's cloning that Matière Noir DNA. And that one is Ayat Jealousy. If you're a fan of Creed's Silver Mountain Water and you want something more fruity, more summer heavy, then this is going to be a perfect fragrance. This is Lattafa Pride Maharjan Silver. So it basically takes that really nice black currant, that really nice aquatic citrusy vibe, and it adds a ton more mandarin in there. And it also has some jasmine, so it's going to be very floral, a little bit waxy, but it is a very energetic fragrance. I love wearing this one to the gym, and honestly, the quality smells absolutely fantastic. It's got some musks, and it really does last a long time and make you just smell very energetic and youthful. So if you want a nice fruity twist with a little bit more of that mandarin orange vibe, again, a twist to that Silver Mountain Water DNA, then this is a great option for about $40. Man, I feel like these are just getting better and better as we reach the end. We're almost there, you guys. This next one is a true hidden gem, and I absolutely love this fragrance. It's special to me. It's a weird fragrance, but I really like this one. This comes from the house of Naseem, and this is going to be Thaljee. Now, this is going to be an aqua perfume, and this concept has been around for a little bit, and I know the new Dior Sauvage Eau Forte just came out, and it definitely shares that same white milky substance on the inside. It's not going to be alcohol in there. It's going to be the fragrance oil bound to basically this aqua perfume, and so it's this kind of strange looking white juice inside. I sprayed on a ton of it just to kind of show you an example, but basically you can also rub it around. Oh my god, I put so much on there. Holy crap. I'm gonna be smelling like this for days. Oh crap. Whoo, that is strong. Oh my god. So even though this does not use alcohol, it is still so strong, especially because of the fragrance oils that they use in here. But man, this is going to be an animalistic leather with a really interesting depth to it. This one is going to be a slightly fruity, very strong animalistic leather. So again, it's that leather similar to Ombre Nomad and also Ombre Leather by Tom Ford, but this one feels more Middle Eastern, and it's got an aquatic vibe to it. So that's not super common that you find a real aquatic leather or an aquatic agarwood. But this one, it just reminds me of a summer leather fragrance, and you can definitely pull this off anytime, especially because of how dark and also how aquatic it can come off. It's very yin and yang. God, that just smells so good. And I also feel like there's a touch of vanilla, so it smells very animalistic, very masculine, but it's also a very summer appropriate leather. So this is a good one if you like leather. Now this one is basically that same DNA, but it smells a little bit more fruity, a little bit more complicated, and a little bit higher quality. So this is a much more fruity version of that. This one is from the house of Ahmed al-Maghribi, and this one is Blue Oud. But man, this is a true niche fragrance house. It's from the Middle East, and I absolutely love Ahmed al-Maghribi's creations, and I gotta give it to them. This one just smells fantastic, and this one is not going to be an Acqua perfume. This is definitely going to use that, you know, alcohol, but it lasts a really long time, and I love wearing this one this summer because you can get away with wearing some of those real dense, dark, earthy notes combined with that really nice leather and some of those fruity, musky tones. So this one, it's super energetic and I love it. That I feel like you get some real aquatic apple in here, you get some fruits. That one is Blue Oud by Ahmed al-Maghribi. Masterpiece. Last but not least, this is another Middle Eastern niche fragrance house, but you can get it for about $60, 70 bucks maybe, and this is some real bang for your buck juice right here. This one is from the House of Attar collection, and this one is Khaltat Night. So if you like that angel share DNA, that real boozy vibe, it's definitely ambery, it's got that nice cognac note, some spice, and definitely some richness to it, especially for this fall season coming up. And if you want a little bit more of a fruity, smoky twist, then this one is a perfect alternative. This is Khaltat Night, and I absolutely love the way that this one smells. It smells like a fall candle. It smells like you're bringing out all the fall decorations in your house. It's definitely turning sweater weather, and you have that really, really nice candied cherry note in here that definitely adds a little bit more of a youthful vibe to that angel share DNA. It smells fantastic as it is, but it basically adds more cinnamon. It plays up on some of those fall spices, and it just smells like a beautiful fall fragrance that honestly people are going to go crazy for. And I love wearing this when I meet friends and family, especially in the fall, because it just puts me in that mindset. What can I say? This one is absolutely worth every single penny, and this one is Attar Collection's Khaltat Night. So there we have it, 20 under the radar fragrances from the Middle East that are a little bit less talked about. I have covered some of these in my videos before, and you know, if you've been watching for a while, you may have seen some of these, but I gotta say, if you're new to the channel or you haven't tried any of these, I feel like a lot of them are blind buy worthy. But again, you have to know what fragrances and the kind of style that you like, so you know, definitely be smart about your purchases. And again, these recommendations are my personal recommendations, but if you've been watching the channel for a while, you can kind of know my styles. I feel like with a lot of these, you're gonna be good either way. Let me know down in the comments some of your recommendations, some of your under the radar fragrances that you would like me to check out, and I would love to talk about them on the channel. Thank you all for watching. You stay safe out there, and I will see you guys in the next one. I am Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. My arm is like tacky. I put so much on. It feels like I just lotioned, like I oiled up my arm. Oh God, it smells good though.